everyone, welcome to our Maine bugs series. Here today we're going to show you how to tie the adult form of the caddis. There are really 5 bugs in Maine that matter if you're fishing for trout and salmon, and the caddis is sort of known as the superhero of Maine rivers. And so we are going to go through each life stage and fly patterns that you can use to sort of match the hatch. And I'll talk about certain times when to use them and stuff. So here, this is a dry fly, and it's a caddis, and it's really, really simple. Here, this is a size 12, but you can definitely tie them in sizes, you know, anywhere from 12, even 10, to all the way to 20, really. So I'm just tying in a piece of hackle here. And with caddis, they're kind of messy looking bugs. And so you don't need to be super neat. I mean, they look cool if they're super neat. Like I'm using whiting, you know, hackle here, so it's going to look pretty decent. But honestly, sometimes the messier the pattern, the better for adult caddis, because they are very sporadic and they move a lot and they're sort of sporadic themselves. So right after you get the hackle in, I take just a wee little bit of dubbing here, just a little bit, just enough to make maybe 2 turns. Here we have enough for a little more than that, so it's probably a little bigger than I like, but whatever. And this little thorax here is basically going to serve for a few reasons. One, it's going to keep our materials that we tie in upcoming in place, and 2, it serves as a little thorax. So after that, this is CDC from a mallard, and you are going to take your CDC and you want your fibers to basically go to the back end of the hook here. So I got my fibers, I'm going to lay them down, that looks pretty good. And I'm going to work back. Don't work forward, because if you work forward, you'll crowd the eye. And we do not want to crowd the eye. So there I just have a little underwing, just a little poofy underwing. CDC, if you don't know, is very, very buoyant, and that will help keep your fly afloat longer. So then we have the final step, which is to come in with some deer hair, and this is actually elk hair. And here I've already stacked it, so they're all sort of in order, but I'm stripping out some of those smaller fibers. And then I want the tips here that I've lined up, I want them to go right beyond the CDC fibers. So I line it up, pinch it, hold it. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 straps, pull down nice and tight. There it is. See, we have a nice wing. And then I'm going to pull, you know, a quarter of the fibers up, pull them down, pull half of them up, cinch it down, and then get this last little bit until we're right out front. This will help with the longevity of the fly. All right. So from here, I'm just going to build up a little head out front. Then I'm going to come in and whip finish right out front before I cut all these tips off. Okay, so basically when we did those wraps in between, it greatly made it so that the deer hair won't spin all that much on you, and the longevity of your fly. Now I got a few fibers trapped down low. See these ones down low, I don't really want those there. You can spend a long time adjusting them if you want, but I think it's much easier to just sort of come in and trim out the few that are bothering you. Or you can take your time really making sure that you don't catch them, which sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. There we go. Because the fish are not gonna care. Okay, there we go. So that's more of your traditional look. Basically, this sits up high, right? And the rest of it sits sort of, this is sort of sitting in the water. You want it to sit just like this. And so this is it. That's your adult caddis. best to use in late May, June, July, August if you're fishing for trout, which you probably shouldn't be, and September. It's really like the boss of all Maine patterns. So there's our pattern, nice and buggy, nice tent shape. You want this tent shape. That's the shape of a caddis. They have tented wings, and so you want that sort of tented look. And there it is. I mean, you can use this pattern all day long on many rivers for trout and salmon in Maine, and it will produce fish. If you want to add even more durability to the head, then you can take some super glue and put it sort of on the sides. That will greatly increase the longevity of this fly as well, because deer hair is kind of brittle, and so you can come in with a little drop of super glue right on that wing. That will add some durability to this fly. Be careful not to get glue in the eye though. And so that is it. So there's our adult caddis, and you know, one of the most common patterns used here in Maine, but for good reason. It catches a lot of fish, especially when the dries are hitting. So there's our pattern. There's our first bug, the caddis. We will continue with the larval, nymph, and emerger stages of the caddis and patterns that you can use to match the hatch. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next episode.